by uniting them with this particular aspect of it. And so this is actually taken from an image, the design is taken from an image of a cavern that is in Mexico, and it is constructed within the walls of a cave. And so, but it basically angles in a certain way, in a pyramidal kind of way. And so it was another image that kind of really struck me in that way. And then I started thinking about a headdress in that sense, and how it really kind of reminded me of that. And this image of this woman, a Mayan woman, the faces to me are, especially the eyes, are something that I look for. I'm a person who really is drawn to a lot of imagery, whether it's moving pictures, like movies, or magazines, or different things in that way. And so I'd look through a lot of different images, and then I typically try to incorporate Native American or indigenous people. My background is that I'm from El Salvador, and my grandmother was Pibil, which is a Mayan. They're connected to the Mayan empire in that sense. And so I have deep appreciation for that, a disconnection to it, because I grew up in this culture, and I really don't have any connection beyond just the blood that flows through my veins in that sense. But I still have a romanticized kind of notion of native living, and also just native cultures in that way. And so in some ways it kind of reflects that, but at the same time, I started thinking about windows and eyes, and kind of the idea of connections in some ways, and passages, and how everything kind of has these crossroads that we kind of meet up at. And sometimes there are moments that are really beautiful, and sometimes there are moments that are really scary. And it's just kind of like living through your experiences in that way. And we all kind of have that. Whether for me, my belief, it's like everything that is living has an experience in that way, and we kind of are all interconnected. And so that's kind of where the idea started evolving, of creating this kind of pyramid that this person is carrying in some ways. And the egg to me is always a symbol of life. And so it's more about just the essence of our journey, and how we kind of interconnect with either ourselves or nature, and or other people in that way. I chose to use Native American and also indigenous people because I feel more connected to that type of imagery, and also that type of life. Like I said, I have a connection to the sensibility, I think, that Native Americans here carry, caring for the land, caring for each other. There's a lot of ideas that I feel that I value very much in that way, and I try to reflect it in the work. So, any questions regarding this piece? The drips here for me, I'll just say one last thing about that. The drips for me are something that I continue in some of the pieces in that way. And it just, an idea that kind of evolved out of a piece that I did a while ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And it was by mistake, and I really like the mistake. Sometimes I feel like I learn more through error in that sense, and allowing the mistake to kind of be there, because it just, for whatever reason, it just gives me a broader sense of like looking at it, or forces me to look at it in a different way. But the drips for me are typically, how I see them are kind of our own experiences and what we go through in some ways, and that's why they're laced with gold. Everything is valuable in that way to me, whether it's a plant or an animal or a person. For me, it's all an experience. Everything is being here to me is just kind of it's the moment, place, and time that I am, but it's also the moment, place, and time of this individual that he was experiencing there. So it's kind of that connection that I found for whatever reason that brought me to paint him in that way, and now I'm talking about him in that way. So for me, it's just about trying to think about other individuals in that way, just people in general, and, you know, and relate them to my own experiences in some ways. And that way, I think it helps me kind of stay grounded, and also kind of helps me be more open, and just try to be mindful of others.
I'd love to hear you talk about this one. Is my favorite right here.
So
Very.
this one